They said Navy SEAL training breaks everyone eventually, that sooner or later, even the strongest candidate hits a point where the body gives up, the lungs shut down, the mind screams to quit, and the world narrows into pain so sharp it feels like it splits the soul. But she wasn't like the others. Where they shook, she steadied. Where they doubted, she focused. Where they feared failure, she embraced the challenge. Her name was Reyes. No first name, no background, no story anyone knew. Just a file with more black ink redaction than text, and a silence that made even the instructors uneasy. She didn't brag. She didn't complain. She didn't laugh or joke or try to bond with the others. She trained, endured, observed, always steady, always quiet, always present. And that silence made her dangerous, because silence was never weakness. Silence was calculation. The morning air was cold enough to sting lungs and burn exposed skin. The California ocean wind whipping through the compound as the recruits lined up for the next phase. Advanced hand-to-hand combat rotations. Dust swirled around heavy boots, and sweat mixed with salt air as the instructor barked orders sharp enough to cut the air. "Pairs," he shouted. "This is not sparring. This is survival. You hesitate, you lose. You stop, you fail. You tap, you go home." The men around Reyes looked confident, smirking, exchanging looks like this was just another drill, another chance to prove they were stronger, tougher, more deserving. One voice whispered just loud enough, "She'll quit today. No way she lasts this round." Another laughed quietly. "She shouldn't even be here. This program isn't built for her." But Reyes heard every word and gave no reaction. Because she'd heard worse, survived worse, been underestimated her entire life, and every doubt cast at her became fuel. The world had told her no so many times that she stopped listening and started proving. Today would be another proof. Her opponent stepped forward, a tall, thick-shouldered recruit named Grayson, known for his ego and temper. He cracked his knuckles, rolled his neck, and smiled like he already won. "Hope you're ready," he said, voice dripping arrogance. "Because I don't go easy just because someone's fragile." Reyes simply met his stare, calm, neutral, unbothered, and that lack of reaction lit a spark of irritation behind his eyes. The instructor stepped forward, whistle poised. "Ready." Grayson lunged before the word finished. The attack was fast, aggressive, impulsive, expecting surprise, expecting flinch. Reyes didn't flinch. She rotated just enough for his arm to miss, redirected his momentum, planted her foot, and slammed her elbow toward his ribs. He barely blocked, barely, and stumbled back, shocked. Murmurs spread through the line. His expression shifted, no longer playful, now personal. He wiped his mouth like she'd somehow insulted him. "All right," he growled. "Let's do this for real." He charged faster this time. Fists flying, a storm of brute strength. And she moved through it with precision, each step calculated, each block efficient. She didn't waste energy. She didn't rush. She waited, patient like a predator, until he made the mistake she knew was coming: overextension. His shoulder opened. His center shifted. His feet misaligned. She struck, one quick movement, sweeping his leg while driving her shoulder into his chest. Grayson crashed to the dirt with a grunt. She pinned him effortlessly and held him there until the whistle blew. "Winner, Reyes," the instructor announced, and the reaction wasn't laughter or sarcasm. It was shock. She stood, brushed dust from her gloves, and walked back to line like nothing happened. But Grayson's pride didn't stay down. Fury clouded reason. When the instructor turned to log results, Grayson lunged from behind, wrapping his arm around Reyes' throat, lifting her off the ground in a brutal choke meant to dominate and humiliate. The other recruits gasped, some stepping back, others watching in tense silence. Reyes' boots kicked air for a second, but she didn't panic. She didn't thrash. She did the opposite. She went still. Stillness wasn't surrender. Stillness was calculation. She tucked her chin, slid her fingers just enough to protect her windpipe, let his aggression become his weakness, then moved. Her entire body shifted in one explosive motion. She dropped weight, turned sharply, broke his stance, and used his locked position against him. A twist, a pivot, a shift of leverage. Grayson lost balance. Reyes seized his wrist, rotated force downward, and slammed him onto the ground. Harder this time, the sound echoing through the field. Then she locked his arm, applying controlled pressure. Not wild, not emotional, intentional. His eyes widened. His breath hitched. Pain spread fast. She didn't increase pressure. She didn't break him yet. She leaned close, voice low, cold, precise. "Don't forget who I am." Only then did she release him, but he gasped for air, while everyone else stared, stunned silent. The instructor stormed toward them, ready to discipline, but stopped when he saw the positioning. Reyes hadn't escalated. She had defended with perfect textbook technique, the kind used by experienced operatives, not trainees. His expression shifted, curious, assessing. "Reyes," he said quietly, "where did you train before this?" She wiped her gloves slowly and finally responded, voice steady. "Before this? I was taught one rule: never wait for permission to survive." Training continued, but everything changed. She became the one everyone watched, respected, feared, analyzed. Some recruits avoided her. Others stared like she was a puzzle they couldn't solve. One approached cautiously, a recruit named Booker. He wasn't intimidated. He was impressed. "That was clean," he said. "Not angry, not sloppy, just decisive." Reyes didn't look at him. Emotion gets people killed. Booker nodded. "You fought like someone who's already been there." She finally glanced his way. "I have." No details. No explanation. Silence returned. Afternoon drills pushed bodies to breaking. Log carries, ocean surf torture, time navigation, blindfold shooting, but Reyes stayed steady through all of it. When others collapsed, she adapted. When others cursed the instructors, she stayed silent. When the waves slammed recruits into the sand, she stared forward, calm against chaos of BY evening. Fatigue rolled through the camp like a slow plague, bodies trembling, shoulders shaking, boots dragging. Darkness settled, and with it came one final challenge: simulated capture and resistance at a cold metal room. Restraints. No lights. Only heavy footsteps and the smell of sweat, dust, and rubber mats. Reyes stood in the center while instructors circled like wolves, testing psychological resilience. One step behind her and tightened an arm suddenly around her throat, simulating a real choke, no warning. Her body reacted instantly, not with panic, but precise counterforce. She shielded her airway, lowered her center of gravity, turned into the pressure, and redirected his grip. Another instructor grabbed her wrist. She broke free. A third attempted to restrain both arms. She countered with a fast, efficient pivot that forced him back. They weren't just testing skill. They were testing instinct. At the T1 point, the lead instructor held her shoulders and whispered, "You don't freeze. You don't panic. What happened to you before this?" For the first time all day, a flicker of something crossed her expression. Pain, old, buried, controlled. She didn't answer the question. Instead, she said, "I learned the hard way that no one is coming to save you." Silence fell in the room. Not defeat, respect. When they finally released her from evaluation, the instructor called to the entire group. "Listen carefully. Strength isn't loud. Confidence doesn't need rage. Control is the real weapon." And today, one recruit showed all three. Every set of eyes turned to her. "Reyes," he continued, "remember this moment, because nobody in this program will underestimate you again." Reyes didn't smile, didn't nod, didn't soak in applause. She simply breathed out, steady and quiet, the same way she entered the day, prepared, focused, unbreakable. Because she didn't come here to prove she could survive Navy SEAL training. She came to prove she belonged. And now everyone knew. You don't choke someone built from fire. You don't intimidate someone forged in loss. And you never, ever forget who she is.